With drivers, we know there is more and more adjustability coming for more and more forgiveness. But is that going to help you? Is that going to hinder you? That's what we want to talk about today. So a bit of a hot topic at the moment with drivers, because if you hit shots just like that one, high and to the right, changing your driver, changing the weights around, is that necessarily going to help you? If you are swinging in a certain way, if your club path is left and your face is open, are you going to be able to change that by changing the weights? And that's the big question. Obviously, when you go for a fitting these days, we know drivers aren't getting any cheaper. Round about between £500 and £600, depending on which brand you go for. Again, if you look cheaper, still going to get a lot of adjustability, a lot of movable weights, but is that going to help you? Obviously, what we want to be able to do when we go for a fitting is get a driver that we can stand on the tee with, feel confident, to be able to hit drives just like that. Nice and straight with a ball flight that has been fitted for us. I've hit some shots. This is my driver for this year, and this is the Cobra Dark Speed LS driver. So it was the right one for me. I have been fitted for it. I have gone through the process, and I haven't changed any of the settings. So on the hosel, I have got a 10.5 degree driver, and I've kept that standard. So we know we can change that, and again, weights on the bottom, we can move those around to change the face angle during our swing. But for me, obviously, a lot of mid-handicap golfers, a lot of handicap golfers start to blame not their swing as such, they start to blame equipment. And how many times have you bought a new driver because oh, my driver's getting a bit tired, I've got the Callaway Rogue, you know, it's 2 years old, it's 3 years old, I think it's a bit tired now, I need something with new technology, because it can't be me that's hitting the ball to the right. And this is where, obviously, the more we change and the more we move around with the driver, the less consistent we are going to be. We're going to start to see all different shapes. There for me, a little bit of a fade, but that will be down the right-hand side and in the rough. Obviously, talking fittings, we need to think about what you are looking for. Not only are you looking for, obviously, a head design that suits your eye, we're looking for the right loft. And a lot of people, or certainly the fad that has been going over the last couple of years, has to be get less loft. I need less loft. If I want less spin, I want less and less loft. How many times I see people coming with a driver that was 9 degrees, I've lofted it down to 7.5 because I'm hitting it too high, and then sometimes they can't optimize the distance. Obviously, TaylorMade a couple of years ago went to loft up, so they went up, they went to 12 degree drivers, but again, you start to see people saying, well, I'm a good golfer, I've got a lot of club head speed, I don't want a 12 degree driver. But for me, I've gone to a 10.5 degree driver, it's getting me a better spin rate, and one big thing that I've always had is too much spin on my drive, so I've not been able to optimize my distance, I don't quite get as much out of it as I should do. And that was when I was using a 9 degree driver. So I was very much the same. I went for something that I felt should be helping me with that, but it wasn't. It wasn't helping me optimize my distance. Whereas you can see now, those two ball flights were nice and penetrating. And even with 10.5 degrees, I can hit a nice flight window. There I can get one to launch a little bit higher if I want. I can get a low one. Again, 265 yards carry there, going 280. So it's very interesting of thinking about, right, what shaft have I got? And if I've got adjustability, let me just stick to what I've got. How many times people are changing shafts? They think, oh, I'll change my shaft, but they don't exactly know. Your friend Dave has told you, I think you need a stiff shaft, so you change to a stiff shaft. That doesn't help you. Somebody then tells you, you need a lighter shaft. I think with your swing, you need a lighter shaft. We don't know. You need to make sure that you're going to get fitted correctly. And if you're looking for fittings, guys, we do have all the latest technology here at Waterfront. You can give Kyle a call on that number below. He is our specialist fitter here at Waterfront, and you can try all the latest stuff out there. But once Kyle or anyone else has fitted you, you need to make sure that you're sticking with that. They're going to put you in the shaft that gets you the optimum flight, but make sure when you go for a fitting, if you're hitting the ball too high, for example, and you're hitting shots like that and you want a lower ball flight, make sure you tell that to the fitter. Say that your optimum flight, the window that you want to hit, is a little bit of a lower ball flight. They might then think about what shaft is in there. It doesn't automatically mean they are going to go to a 9 degree, and it doesn't automatically mean they're going to start messing around with all these weights on the back. Yes, these weights can help you, but for me, a lot of golfers, it does hinder them because you start to tinker, you start to think, well, I'm hitting it to the right, so I'm going to change the weight so it'll straighten it up. It doesn't straighten it up, and then it's the search for a new driver. Let's get a guy who's got a driver fitted for him this year. He's got it set in a different setting, but what is it? So you can see here on this mid-handicapper's driver, we've got all different settings. So we've got plus 1.5, we have a PXG setting, we have 1.5 degrees lower, and then we have standards. So a lot of different options there. Dave's actually just cleaning his head behind there because he said it was dirty. Or unblur, Dave.
It is, it's really bottom of it. How do you get mud on the bottom of a driver?
Well, you might, because you take divots with it, Dave. But we want to obviously get this in the right setting. So the PXG setting is actually 3 degrees flat. So that for Dave is going to help him to stop hitting the ball as far left. And that's one big reason why he went for this driver. But we have filmed up Dave's lesson with his driver, which will be going in the next couple of weeks. So Dave's done this, he's got this setting, he's got 10.5 degrees of loft, which is again a talking point we'll go through shortly, but 3 degrees flat is to help his ball flight.
Is that what you put it on now?
That is what I've put it on now, Dave. So we've got it in Dave's setting. Obviously, what we want to see from Dave as well is he was fitted previously for a 12 degree driver. So his driver he was getting a bit of height because he was obviously hitting it too low. It got him a little bit more, but it sacrificed distance. So we actually, even though Dave hits the ball quite low, we went to a 10.5 degree head to help him get that little bit more total distance. And again, the setting there has allowed Dave to hit straighter shots just like that. 190, 210. Dave's best drive in here for a long time. And if you're asking why we're inside, guys, unfortunately the courses here in the UK, or especially in Yorkshire, are flooded at the moment. Underwater. So a great shot there from Dave. But one more, Dave. And we're going to talk about, obviously, you're used to the loft now. You're happy with the loft. Obviously, you were surprised when we took it down.
I was, yeah.
And then obviously the shaft changing that has helped you. But do you think there's too much adjustability? Because
it's just too tempting sometimes. You know, as a mid-handicap, you just think, maybe if I do this or I do that, I can maybe get a couple of more yards or I can straighten it up a little bit.
Exactly.
Instead of going to, you spend money going and getting fitted for clubs, and then all of a sudden you think you've become an expert yourself, whereas you've just paid somebody, well, £100 is a reasonable amount for a fitting.
Exactly, and you go, oh, you've got Scottish Paul in your ear, he's been fitted for a driver that's a little bit different setup to yours, but he said, oh, Dave, you need to try it in my setting, and it's not necessarily going to help you. So make sure, guys, that when you've been fitted, try and stick to that. Obviously, unless you're getting lessons and your coach has told you different.
Ooh, bit toey, Chris.
Bit toey, but still pretty straight. We've not hit that one left. We're going to change the settings now on this driver and see how it could affect Dave's ball flight. So guys, an interesting thing here with the PXGs, they do actually hide the adjustable sleeve, so you can't see what your opponent or what you've got in your bag. So we have changed this to the plus 1.5 setting. So we've got it set at 12 degrees now, and we know when we add loft, Dave, normally what that does is encourages the face to be a little bit closed. So this would be, again, everything working against what we want for you. So let's see what this does. Obviously, you had a 12 degree driver before, which was a 12 degree head. It wasn't obviously adjusted.
No.
But let's see now. So straight away we've got the launch. We've lost a little bit of control there on the club face. And this is going to obviously change how that club head will work through the swing as well. So it's interesting.
See, that's lower.
Lower and down the middle. So not exactly working as we wanted for Dave. So let's go one more. We can see we've lost a little bit of consistency. Yes, you will say, as a mid-handicapper, Dave might hit some missed strikes, but straight away it's harder for him, even though he's had a few to warm up. the one we
Forget
often
it.
see.
Put it back, Chris.
Right, we'll change that back, guys. So straight away there, you can see that we've lost that consistency for Dave, and he isn't able to obviously optimise. So this is where obviously tinkering with your driver can sometimes hinder you, and it's the same now with fairway woods. A lot of fairway woods are more and more adjustable. Dave, for example, we're going to talk through his 5-wood in coming weeks, because that is very adjustable. We've got an adjustable sleeve, we can change it, we can make it more upright, we can change the loft, we can give it less loft, we can also change the weights on the back to change the flight, just like we can now with a driver. So do you want to be tinkering around with them? And guys, if you have, what have you done to your club? So how have you changed yours to try and get maybe a little bit more distance, a little bit more consistency? And have you been for a fitting? Or if you are going for a fitting, where are you going? We're going to be getting Dave in the next couple of weeks out for a tour style fitting. So we are going somewhere in the UK that does a very much a tour experience for £100. £100 for a fitting. He goes through all the clubs, which is very interesting. You will be able, well, Dave will be testing out a pitching wedge, an 8-iron, a 6-iron and a 4-iron in this fitting, which you don't normally get. So is that going to help Dave with his fitting? We're then going to see them build the clubs that Dave does get fitted for. So are you spending your money on a fitting? Well, 4-iron, yeah, debatable. But this is where, obviously, when you go for a fitting, you'll want to test all the bag. It'll be very interesting to see what Dave comes out with. Let's get some predictions below. Comment below, guys, what clubs and maybe what shafts do you think Dave will be put into? What flex? And what kind of set makeup might it be? 3 degrees flat. And back down the middle. A little bit high on the face there, but we've got that consistency down the middle. 180, running out to 200.
I don't mind it being high on the face like that, Chris. If it stays down the middle and gets somewhere near 200 yards,
exactly.
Happy days.
So for Dave, obviously we're working on this driver. We are working on lessons. That will be going on the channel in the next couple of weeks. But Dave's being fitted. It's in the settings that are going to help him hit more fairways this year. And if he can hit more fairways, hopefully he can get that handicap down. But guys, make sure...
More importantly, beat you.
And try and beat me. But more importantly, guys, when you get fitted, make sure you don't try and tinker with that. If it's been fitted for a reason, unless your coach tells you anything different, stick with what you've got. And we'll see you again later in the week.
See you soon.